This is episode 28 of the Weekly Take podcast. This is the second time I'll be showing this. Funny story, how this started out. I did the first episode or the first try of this about 20 minutes ago, and let me tell you what happened. My phone died, and that's what does my recording for the for the podcast. And then I'm looking at my papers and I'm looking at the draft things, and I had the wrong draft paper. I had the 2019 mock draft pick. So like the first couple picks, I was like, going down the line, I was like, wait, the Giants didn't pick them. And I was like, I was going to read the wrong thing. So it's a blessing in disguise that this happened. And because I watched the draft and I was like, these guys did not go here. So I avoided that headache, and also I got this damn ink. I had to change the ink in my printer. The printers are probably the worst thing. They love to fail, and they love to just give up on you. Look at this damn little wound I got. Not wound, but it's like a ink spot on my finger for those of you guys who are watching on the video version. That would be on YouTube. Okay. So we got a lot of stuff that we got to cover today. We got a lot of players. Every team in the NFL is going to be covered today in the first round. It's very exciting stuff. I'm very excited to give you guys an insight of what I believe and who I think is going to be great in the NFL. And we're going to tie it off with some NBA playoffs and, almost done with the first round. Some interesting stuff going on. So, Kyler Murray is an Arizona Cardinal. As of right now, he is the first picked quarterback in the 2019 NFL draft. And, I give this pick a B. I'm going to be giving you guys letter grades for every pick. And the reason I give Kyler Murray a B is because I think he has a high upside and he's going to bring youth to the Arizona Cardinals. The reason it's a B and not an A is because I honestly think that Josh Rosen needed another year. It took Aaron Rodgers 3 years to get up to par, and I believe Josh Rosen's could have done very well. But Kyler Murray has a big upside. He's mobile. Even though he doesn't really run as much as people say, I feel like he has a pocket presence as well. But let's remember this. Kyler Murray has had the best offensive line in every team he's played in. In high school, he had a great offensive line. You go to Oklahoma, they had the best offensive line. But now, you're in the league in the NFL, and you're going to the Arizona Cardinals. They have the worst-ranked offensive line in the league right now. So, according to Pro Football Focus, that is the statistic, and Kyler Murray is going to be under some trouble. And we've seen what happens when someone doesn't have a good offensive line. David Johnson's been in Arizona for 5 years now, and he had those great years, and then he's like, I can't do this on my own, man. Give me some help, man. The people in Arizona on offense need some help from that type of thing. So I give this pick, Kyler Murray, a B. Moving into the San Francisco 49ers first round pick, two NFC West teams right off the bat. That division's pretty good this year with, LA and Seattle being a little top heavy. But actually, no, they're not good. I don't even know what I just said that. They're not that good with this division. 2-2, you're 500. Seattle they made playoffs, and they lost to the Cowboys. LA lost to the Patriots. So they had two playoff teams in their division. That's pretty impressive. But when you have two teams in the first round picking 1 and 2, I mean, those are guaranteed 4 wins. And okay, we'll get to that. But Nick Bosa, I give it an A. He's the best player in the draft, highest rated, and they got him at the second pick. It's a good pick. San Francisco is building defense over there. I think it's going to be a great fit for him. And I believe he has the power to change that defense a little bit. And, when you have a player like that where people got to respect at least put 2 guys on you, or at least think about putting 2 guys on you, you're going to have an advantage in that aspect. Moving into the next pick, New York Jets pick Quinnen Williams. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. I don't know if you're ever going to hear this, but Quinnen Williams, I give this an A2. The New York Jets are doing great on their defense right now, anchoring it with C.J. Mosley right now, and adding this young pick right here I think is only going to help them. I give this pick an A. I really agree with their pick. The best defensive tackle in the draft, I believe. And it helps that he's from Alabama. He's getting good reps against all these great SEC teams. It's a great pick. Moving into Clinton Farrell from Clemson. Here's my thing about the Raiders. I am pretty biased, and I always hate on the Raiders, and I know you guys are probably exhausted of me never being a fan of what they do, but they're trying to make it hard for me to like them. I'm trying, but when you pull something like this, when you have Ed Oliver on the board and you go with Clelland Ferrell, I give it a C+, man. He's got a high ceiling, but he's also got a really low basement, and he could definitely be a very, mediocre guy. But I hope the best for the guy. But Oakland, I would have picked Ed Oliver. Devin White, and I believe, you know what? I have this written down as a B right now, but you know what? I'm going to cross this out right now, and I'm going to put A right now. And you know what? I'm going to put an A+. I really like Devin White in Tampa Bay this year. I think it's just a good pick for him. Good pick for Tampa Bay to pair him with Quan Alexander. That defense is going to need a player like him, an impactful player. We saw what happened when they had Warren Sapp in the history of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Devin White has an opportunity to be this type of player. I think it's going to be a great pick. I think Devin White is going to change things in Tampa Bay. Mark it down because I think he is going to be breaking some records for Tampa Bay. So remember that weekly take, remember that one. And here we are at the 6th pick, the 2019 NFL Draft, Daniel Jones. And here's the thing, I don't want to be the guy who says he's going to be terrible, and then 3 years down the road, and I'm be one of those guys that everyone's like, oh, remember when you told him he was going to be bad? So I'm going to give this guy a little bit of love. Maybe this is, he could do great, but if the Giants didn't pick him with their first pick, I think that would have been better. Right now, I am the Giants right now. I am reaching for Daniel Jones in the NFL draft to try to save our team. That is me right now, reenacting the Giants right now. I give this a D. I just believe it was a reach. Who knows? The guy could be great, but I think they could have addressed a lot more holes in their team right now. They're at the 6th pick in the NFL draft. Pick someone else. I know you guys need a quarterback, but if you're going to pick him, wait till the 3rd round. You should have picked Dwayne Haskins, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. Moving on to Josh Allen in Kentucky. This is a perfect pick. I like all the defensive linebackers this year. The DTs are going to great places that, I think they would just fit in perfectly. I think Josh Allen is going to very well complement the Jaguars' defense. They just picked up Jalen Ramsey's 5th-year option. It's going to be a good pairing. I know he's an outside linebacker. There's an O next to the LB on the paper. So I just think that defense is going to be great, and I think he's going to be a great piece, a young piece for them. Moving into the next pick, I have B- written down before this, but you know what? I'm just not even a fan of this. A tight end I don't think is the issue in Detroit right now. I've always been a guy that said I think it's Matt Stafford. I think it's, the receiving core. It's their offensive line. The Detroit Lions just like to be bad and figure out a way how to ruin players. Calvin Johnson was a fantastic player, but they just tried to figure out a way how to not use him effectively other than lob it up to him. But the thing is it's going to help their offense a little bit, but I just didn't think he's the answer. Even though he's like the next Gronkowski, I think it could definitely help them. But, I'm going to give this a C- as a pick. I just don't believe in picking tight ends this high of draft. Last year, the Baltimore Ravens picked Hayden Hurst, and, he's a great player, but at that time, you should just let them fall a little bit farther. And I just don't think this was the answer for Detroit. So C-. Moving into Ed Oliver for Houston, I think this is another perfect pick. They got a lot of contracts coming up on that defense. They're going to be probably losing some veteran players. But, if they could pair it with Ed Oliver from Houston, I think this is going to be great. He's going to play for Houston, and he's no, I lied to you. He's going to Buffalo, and he's from Houston, not the other way around. I think this is going to be a good pairing for him. Looking at the young Bills defense, and he's going to be a big piece. I totally read Houston. I thought he was going to the Texans. I was even more hyped about this pick, but he's going to Buffalo. Buffalo has a fantastic defense, and I think he's going to be a perfect fit for them. So I'm going to go as far as saying this is an A because, I would not think Ed Oliver would be at the 9th spot given his talent. I did not think TJ Hockenson would go above him. So props to Detroit, or props to Buffalo for letting it come back to them. Moving into the next part, we got Devin Bush from Michigan, a center. not a center, an inside linebacker. I am so sorry, guys. I won't get any more wrong. It's because my handwriting and the penmanship. But Devin Bush from Michigan, inside linebacker. He's going to fill the Ryan Shazier spot. The AFC North is going to be great this year with Baltimore on the uprising, I believe, and then Cleveland. Already, everyone's hyping up Cleveland right now. Cincinnati's all right. You can never really write them off. But, yeah, I give this a C pick. I wish I could give you guys more insight about this, but I don't want to, blabber on and act like I know about Devin Bush. But I give this a C just because I want to stay generic and just say, I don't really know. Moving in from Jonah Williams, offensive tackle from Alabama. Any player from Alabama on the offensive line, I believe, is going to be a great pick on the defensive line, on the linebacker side of things, on the safeties, the corners. This team breeds NFL players. Anyone from Alabama, it's like already above a C. I believe I'm going to give this a B+. They need protection. Their running game hasn't really been existent in the past 4 years. So I really like this pick. I'm going to go B+. Jonah Williams to Cincinnati. Moving into the Green Bay side of things, at the number 12 pick of the 2019 NFL Draft, we have a D end, Rashawn Gary. I got to give this a D+, man. I love D ends, and I love what they're about. They make the game interesting to watch. But, dude, this guy is really, injury ridiculed. He has the ability to get hurt and be out the rest of the year. That is not what Green Bay needs right now on the defensive side of things. They need a player who is consistently on the field making plays. And I don't think Rashawn Gary is going to be that, so I give this a D+. I'm sorry, Green Bay. I had to do it to you like that. Moving into Christian Wilkins from Clemson. I believe Christian Wilkins is the better one of the Clemson guys. I just like the way he gives. When you have 3 guys that are in the first round from Clemson's defensive line, they're obviously all huge talents, but I think he was my favorite. I think I just watched his number a little more than the other guys. So I'm going to go as far as ranking this an A. These guys haven't had a great guy since Mario Williams or Ndamukong Suh. And, Mario Williams is a great player. And I just think, this is a great compliment to that type of player he is for Miami. And Christian Wilkins, I give it an A, not an A+. Chris Lindstrom from Boston College, I give this a B, offensive guard for Atlanta. This, I don't really know if this was the problem they needed. Offensive guards are always needed in the league, but was this the whole Atlanta needed? Maybe to get their run game going. Maybe they want to run some more counters. He's going to be leading that way. This could very well happen. So I'm going to go as far as giving this one a B-. Dwayne Haskins from Ohio State falls to the Washington Redskins at the 15th pick. A+. I give this an A+. Dwayne Haskins is going to be great in Washington, even though he didn't look too hyped about going there. I just think this is going to be a great pick for him, great fit. They're going to get some pieces, and he's going to be complemented very well. And he's going to prove the league wrong. New York should have picked him. Sorry, rest of the league. You should have picked him a little sooner. But I give this one an A+ for Washington. Great pick. Moving into Brian Burns from Florida State, outside linebacker. I give this one a B. The Carolina Panthers are missing, they're going to miss Thomas Davis here soon. And, they have to fill that gap a little bit. So I think Brian Burns from Florida State is going to fill that perfectly. He's also a young guy. Obviously, he's coming from the draft, and I think he's going to be able to fit that scheme a little good with Ron Rivera and that defensive coordinator on the side of things. I give this one a B+. I hope to see Carolina good again because I'm a big fan of Cam Newton, and I think his ability to, let alone be out there on the field and make plays, is inspiring in itself. And, inspiration is what starts it. Momentum switches a lot of ways in the NFL, and you could get that going, you'll be perfect. And Cam Newton has always been good at that. Moving into the New York Giants' second pick, they got Dexter Lawrence from Clemson. I think this is a good fit. Dexter Lawrence is a defensive tackle. Ever since they got rid of Snacks and he went to Detroit, I think they've been missing that hole. So I think that's what they're like, all right, we're going to get rid of him, and now we're going to acquire this. And then that's exactly what they did. I think this is actually a very good pick. I'm going to go as far as giving this one an A-. Good job on the 17th pick, Giants, but you guys should have... did better on your first pick, let's say. Moving into the Minnesota Vikings type of things. The thing is with the Vikings, I don't really pay attention to the Vikings. I feel like they go under the radar, until a couple years ago, and the AP days. They got Garrett Bradbury from NC State. He's a center. I look at this and I just say, I'm glad they're addressing the offensive line. Any team that does that, it's a great idea, especially when you have Kirk Cousins behind you. in the center type of things. And then when you have a up and coming running back, you gotta figure it out, and it starts right there on the offensive line. So I go as far as saying giving this one a B. This is a B grade. Moving into the 19th pick of the NFL draft, we have Jeffrey Simmons from Mississippi State going to the Tennessee Titans. This Jeffrey Simmons guy is fucking huge. He is going to be a great player for this team, and I think Tennessee it's going to pair good with Brian Arakpo behind him, telling him what to do. I think the Tennessee Titans defense is very underrated, and I think this is going to be a very good pick. He could very well win Rookie of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Moving into Noah Fant from Iowa, the Denver Broncos chose a tight end for Joe Flacco to throw it to. I think this is a good pick. I would have liked to see them pick a receiver. I think they needed that a little more, but knowing Flacco, dump offs are kind of a thing from the elite guy over there in Denver right now. So I like to see where Noah Fant does, and we got 2 tight ends from Iowa in the draft, and I think it could very well go well. So I'm cheering for Noah Fant and Joe Flacco this year. I give this one a B. Darnell Savage on Green Bay is now a safety for the cheese people or the cheese guys or whatever. I don't know what you guys really call it. You guys, the cheeseheads. The cheeseheads now have Darnell Savage. I think this is a good thing for them. They always get guys with cool names. HaHa Clinton Dix, Darnell Savage. Aaron Rodgers is a pretty cool name. I give this one an A+. He was a very high-rated safety, and I think he's going to make things work in Green Bay, especially on their defensive side of things. Green Bay has actually chosen defensive guys first in the first round forever now, and I think it's been the past 8 years they've been defense first, which I totally understand because Aaron Rodgers will make someone else good. You can't really make a defensive guy good. Moving into the 22nd pick of the NFL draft, we have Andre Dillard from Washington State. That is actually the reason I'm wearing this visor today. Go Cougs in that aspect. He's a very good offensive tackle. I think he's going to bring a good, piece to Philly, especially that passing offense. Washington State's always been, really pass heavy. I just think this is going to be good. A lot of people, are harping on his running game, and, they showed the clips and it looked like he was doing really good on the run game. So, Andre Dillard, congratulations on going to there. Moving on to the next pick, we have Titus Howard from Alabama State, offensive tackle, going to Houston. I think Houston needed to fill this gap ever since they got rid of Duan Brown. Duan Brown from, now he's in Seattle. Ever since they got rid of him, they've been hoping to get someone else, and he's going to fill that gap. So I give that a B. Moving into the next. The 25th pick in the NFL draft, we had Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown, a.k.a., that's his, his nickname. I give this an A, the Baltimore Ravens. I'm a little biased, so, you could go as far as saying giving it a B. I think this is a great pick for them. They need a wide receiver. Seth Roberts is our number 1 right now, or Willie Snead. And, we haven't had good luck with the receivers since Steve Smith, Anquan Bolden, and just, we needed to address that. And I think this is a great step towards that. And even if he's not the guy they say he is, I know he's smaller and stuff, but I think he can make plays. Doug Baldwin made plays when he was small. Golden Tate made plays when he was small. Steve Smith made plays when he was small. That's not a problem. I think this is going to be a great pick. Montez Sweat falling to Washington. This is a D-end. I don't really know much about Montez Sweat, but I know he's a talented guy, so I went as far as just giving this a C because I don't really know much about the guy. But he very well could do good. I mean, he was picked in the first round. Jonathan Abram from Mississippi State, I give this a C+. Is this really what the Oakland needed, man? Oakland cracks me up every time, man. They just try to make me not like their picks. They just know that I'm just gonna just shit on them, so they just try to make me extra mad. I hope I hope the players are good. I just don't like the organization. Just the Raiders, I don't like John Gruden. I'm sorry, but, in the sake of the podcast, I got to stay, positive. And, I like this kid. He played good in Mississippi State, but I just gave it a C+ because I don't know if that's really what they needed in Oakland right now. Moving into the Chargers, they got Jeffrey Tiller from Notre Dame, defensive tackle. He's a fucking big dude, too. All these D tackles this year are huge. They really needed this. They were missing this against the New England Patriots. They were not penetrating their offensive line at all, and maybe that was haunting them a little bit. So they went and got a good pick, and I think this will very well play off. Okay, Seattle Seahawks. Here's the thing about the Seattle Seahawks on the 29th pick. these guys every year, they, my buddies and I cheer for the Seahawks as well. And, you get ready for the NFL draft, you wait for 3 hours to get a pick, and they trade away. It's like you should just write off your calendar that, the Seahawks are not going to draft in the first round, but they did. They should have picked right after Baltimore, but they traded away onto the 29th, and then they picked up L.J. Collier. So this is a big shock. And it was not a running back. I'm sorry, Seattle, but they picked a DN, probably to replace Frank Clark. I have not seen much tape on this guy except for, the draft tape when they showed after he got picked. And, he very well could do good. He's from TCU. They play a good schedule over there, but I don't know. There's a lot of other guys I think that could have been a little bit better for him. But, Seahawks, the Seattle organization is doing a great job in organizing the picks and getting more out of their money. Moving into DeAndre Baker, CB from Georgia. I think this is a fantastic pick. They've been missing Eli Apple. Eli Apple's balling out in New Orleans. I think the Giants have been missing him, so I think this is a good hole that they've been addressing, especially since they lost Landon Collins. They're not going to be able to get away with corners that aren't doing their job. They need guys who are going to be able to come in and ball out, and I think DeAndre Baker is going to be a great fit for that. Caleb McGarry from Washington. I think this is a great offensive tackle type of thing for the Atlanta Falcons. Going back to their last pick, they picked a guard, so they're really trying to beef up the offensive line, maybe to get Devontae Freeman. Tevin Coleman is in San Francisco. Devontae Freeman's going to try to get his run game back going, and I think it very well could happen. Matt Ryan can make things happen. Julio can make things happen. These guys are players away from being contenders again, and I don't know what happened. Moving into N'Keal Henry, he was going to the New England Patriots, and as a Raven fan, I wanted N'Keal Henry to come to Baltimore, and I was really excited, but I'm leaning more towards Hollywood Brown now. But here's the thing with N'Keal Henry. He has the tangibles to be a great receiver, and he played in the Pac-12, and a lot of people are writing that off because he's from there. But he's a great player. Tom Brady's going to make him even greater. Coach Belichick will, make him great. And I just think this is a good pick for them. I give this one an A. Wow, I don't know if I've been giving you guys letter grades for the past ones. But starting from San Diego, we went B+, B, B, C, A. I think I did that one a little wrong, but those are the drafts, guys. That's the first round of the NFL draft. If you guys, I might post this. I don't know. There's my picks. Yeah, thank you guys for listening to that part. But now we got the NBA. You know what? We're going off script a little bit because we're going to just be looking at the bracket. The 2019 bracket. Okay. So, as you guys who don't know, the Portland Trailblazers defeated the Oklahoma City Thunder in a 4-1 series, or 4-1 in a 7-game series. Damian Lillard literally obliterated the Oklahoma Thunder. And it's just, at that point of thing, I just congratulate Portland. I've never been a Portland guy, and I know you guys know that, but I think Damian Lillard very well put the team on his back against this. So, the Portland Trailblazers will play the winner of the Denver Nuggets and the San Antonio Spurs on Saturday. We will know who plays who. And right now, the Golden State Warriors and the Clippers are playing. I have no idea who's winning that game right now. I hope it's Los Angeles. If it's Los Angeles, actually, let me give you guys a live update on Weekly Take. This is going to be cool. Golden State Warriors versus the LA Clippers. Okay, and the live score is 93-72 Golden State. I tell you, I'm shocked, but I'm not. So, looking at that, and it's the 3 minutes left in the third quarter, so they could come back. But Golden State Warriors are going to be playing Houston, and I still believe that Golden State's going to ball out and beat them. But Houston, here's the thing about Houston. If PJ Tucker and Eric Gordon play as well as they're doing, they're going to be a great, hard team to beat. So I don't really know what people are, freaking out about in that aspect, So, who do I think is going to win the Denver Nuggets and San Antonio Spurs series? I've told you guys, and I will tell you again, the Spurs are going to win Game 7, and here is why. DeMar DeRozan is ready to prove himself that the first round is no longer his home. He wants to move on to the second home. He's tired of it. LaMarcus Aldridge wants to get the recognition he deserves. Greg Popovich wants to get back to this competitive aspect of the NBA Western Conference divisional side. It's just, they're going to win, and I'm 100% backing the Spurs. Go Spurs, go. I think they could do it. That's my little rant on the San Antonio Spurs. I think it's going to be a good series if they go on to play Portland. But Damian Lillard is a beast, and it's going to be hard to guard him. I don't know who is going to be guarding him if San Antonio wins it, and especially even if Denver wins it. It's going to be a great competitive thing. I still think Golden State is going to walk out of the western side of things, but that's what I think about what's going on over here. So it very well could be Golden State, Houston, Portland, Denver, or San Antonio. I don't think LA is going to come back because if LA wins tonight, they play against Sunday. And then we will, move on to the next round after that game. This has been a long first round. We got two teams that are almost going to the game. We got one series going to Game 7 and one that could. So we don't know yet. So moving to the next thing, the Milwaukee Bucks swept the Detroit Pistons. And, do I blame them? Did I expect Detroit to win a game? No. And they didn't. So let's just talk about Milwaukee playing Boston. I think this is going to be a good matchup. Kyrie Irving is going to be hard to cover. Giannis is going to be hard to cover. I just really think Milwaukee is going to come out on top on this. I think it's going to be Milwaukee versus Toronto just because I just like the way Toronto plays. But in the Eastern side of things, we have the 1, 2, 3, and 4 seed. And in the West side of things, we will have the 1, 4, and 3, and possibly 7. So it could go that way too. The higher seeds all won in the East. Just like I predicted, may I remind you, I said no upsets were happening in the Eastern side of things, and I know that's an easy upset. So let's go for another prediction here. I got Milwaukee, and I got Toronto, the higher seeds. Wow, Dom, you picked the higher seeds. A lot of people are, really leaning towards Boston. A lot of people like the Jimmy Butler, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and the 76ers. But I like Kawhi Leonard, Danny Green, Siakam, Kyle Lowry, Marc Gasol, the city of Toronto, Drake. Actually, I'm not a big Drake guy, but, he could maybe make a song, pump him up or something. So I think Toronto wins that. Toronto plays Golden State, and I want Toronto to win, but I think Golden State will win. That is my 2019 playoffs bracket story here. This has been episode 28 of the Weekly Take podcast. If you guys ever want to be on the show, you guys want to call in, I'm trying to figure out a way I could get your guys' call in here. Like, oh man, I'm a big fan of Kyler Murray. Hell, could you say that? I would love to have you guys on the show. If you guys ever want to come out on the show, let me know. And again, I run another podcast. If sports is not your forte, go listen to that, the Dom Joseph podcast. I just got done talking to Tony Brave about video games. You're a big Fortnite guy. We talked about Fortnite. It's a great show, and I just have a lot of fun doing these podcasts. And if you guys want to be part of it, I'd love to have you guys on the show. And again, my name is Dominic Joseph, and thank you guys so much for listening. Have a fantastic day.